Well, hello there. I'm Marito. On this channel, we explore cosplay, conventions, and other fun nerdy things. And in this video, I will do a rundown on how I made the largest prop or project I have ever done, which is this room. I've been crafting my whole life and I've always dreamt of having my own a craft space or studio at home. When I started with cosplay when I was 17, I made my cosplay at the kitchen table at our family house, and then I moved into an apartment with my friends, and then I lived in a studio, that's one room apartment that I shared with my now husband, and then we had a slightly bigger apartment, but it was still only 2 rooms, so we had our setups in the living room, and well, the cosplay and crafting stuff was always in our living space. So yeah, I've been dreaming of having my own designated area for making crafts. So my husband is also a very creative person. My favorite way of spending time together is to do our own separate thing, but in the same room. So when we later started looking for a bigger home, a bigger apartment, or even a house, it was very important for us to find a space with a room large enough to be our own shared studio. So not only a space for myself, but for the both of us, where we both could work, because we work partly from home, and also work on our own creative projects. So that has been a long dream for the both of us, to find a space that we both could be creative in and work together separately, but share the same space. After several years of saving money, going to showings, bidding on houses, and then we had the 2020 pandemic, which created a boom in the prices for housing in Sweden. It was insane. Finally, a little over a year ago, we managed to acquire this house, which is outside of the town where we both work. And this house is a bit of a fixer-upper, to say the least. Everything is original from the 60s, so we have put a lot of hard work into making this space our own and updating it and making sure that everything is in running condition. This is actually part 2 of creating my dream craft space. I did a declutter video before we moved here, and I have already shared that, so we'll share the link down here or up here. Either way, if you haven't seen it, it's a lot of fun. It's just me going through years and years of costumes and getting rid of a bunch of stuff because it was very much needed. I do have very many things. Anyways, that's enough of an intro and talking. Let's start with some footage from when we first got the keys to the house, our first house. Woo, so exciting! Alright, so here you can see the kitchen with the lovely room divider and the 70s swinging doors. Those were the first things to go. We immediately tore those down to make a bigger space in the kitchen. And next to the kitchen we have the living room. And here we have the lovely popcorn paint that was all over and was a pain to remove. Next to the living room we have 3 smaller rooms. The lady who lived here previously, she used the bedroom furthest away in the house as her bedroom, but we wanted to take down that one wall and create one big studio for my husband and I, and also take down and move the wall between the bedrooms so we could put in the built-in wardrobes on the other side of the wall. And at first we weren't even sure if we would be able to take down that middle wall, because it might be a bearing or construction wall that's needed for the integrity of the house. So we consulted an expert on wood structures, and luckily it was not bearing, so we could take down that wall. Very, very happy about that, otherwise we would not be able to do this project. My brother was kind enough to take some time off work and come help us with the house, so we tore down the wardrobe and the wall and also the door, and then later I took down the last wall with my father. After we took down the wall, it was time to rebuild the wall, which my brother also helped me because I had never done this before. He had done it previously and he learned how to on YouTube. Isn't that super cool? Turns out it's just about being meticulously when you measure things and make measure twice, cut once. That's the big lesson learned when doing this, and it was so cool to be able to do it ourselves from scratch. So really it was pretty straightforward. We built a frame and then we put it up, and then we added some plaster and then some insulation, because this is the wall between the bedroom and where I will have my sewing machine. And as my husband goes to bed before me, it would be very courteous to have it insulated in case I want to sew in the wee hours of the night. After this, we prioritized to get the bedroom done before the other space. So here I am in January finishing up the walls of the bedroom. After this came the tedious work of removing the wallpaper and the lovely popcorn paint that was all over the structured wallpaper. And I had to rework the walls several times to get it all off. I know that you can put wallpaper on wallpaper, but this was structured, and also it was very cleansing to like remove all those old things from the walls and kind of get down to that original plaster and just like start fresh. I partly used a wall steamer and then I used a scraper to scrape it off, and I don't know how many hours that went into this, like so many evenings, so many weekends. Actually the ceiling also has popcorn paint, but I decided that I wanted to keep my sanity, and so we left it. We still have the popcorn paint on parts of the ceiling, but that will have to wait. After this, it was time to patch the wall, floor and ceiling to make the two rooms become one. Ja. God morgon då. Kul. Det är väl bara att fortsätta. Look at this, it's some scribbles from the 60s that was underneath all the wallpaper. We found all these writings and drawings, and it was pretty fun to see. Here I am putting fiberglass strips on the walls and ceilings and then adding wall filler. And this was the first time doing this, or well, actually most of the things that was done in this room was the first time doing, and I learned most of those skills through YouTube. So that was really fun, just like learning all these new skills, and it's feeling so accomplished making it by myself. I also added filler to the one wall where the popcorn paint had been painted straight onto the plaster and not on the wallpaper, which was a pain to remove. And then there were bubbles on the plaster from the filler. And in hindsight, it would have been so much easier to just remove that one sheet of plaster and add a new one. But I guess that's a lesson learned for next time. And then it was time to sand all the walls and do it again one more time with the filler and then sand again. But being a seasoned cosplayer, sanding and resanding and priming and sanding again is something I'm pretty used to by now when making props, especially when working with Worbla. And so actually it's pretty fun that it was several of my cosplay skills and also a lot of the tools that I accumulated over the years came in handy when working on the house. So that's pretty fun. When this was all said and done, we can finally go to the hardware store and get some wallpaper and paint. As this will be a creative space with a lot of things going on, we plan to have art on the walls and books and stuff. We decided to keep the walls pretty simple. Instead of printed wallpaper, we got this white, thicker, pre-primed painter's wallpaper. It is a lot wider and stiffer than regular wallpaper, and also it was quite a bit more tricky to get on the wall. I had actually just learned how to put on wallpaper for the first time. I had never done it before. My friend came over and showed me how to do it. By now, I actually could put up wallpaper by myself, but these painter's wallpaper was so much wider and stiffer, it was really difficult. So actually my husband and I had to do that together to get it on there. But once it was up, it looked like one cohesive, clean, nice room, and not this construction site that we've been living in for the last couple of weeks, months. So it was such a great feeling and such a big accomplishment to reach that point. I was really pushing for a couple of weeks, working very hard, very many hours in the evenings and on the weekends to get this done before I went to London and Star Wars Celebration in Easter. But as always, when working on a project, there's this one thing that you never see coming that kind of makes you go, yeah.
Well, hello there. I was working as a crazy person, like 4 hours at work and then 3 to 4 hours every night for several weeks to get this room all set up before going to London. And then my husband was going to fix the floors, and then we sent a sample and there's asbestos in the floor, so we can't get it done. We have a company coming tomorrow and they will remove everything and make sure that the asbestos is removed. And even better, this brown carpet, probably from the 70s, continues in the hallway into the kitchen. Yay! We have to take up the floors in the kitchen and the hallway, so it goes all the way through the house. Isn't that exciting? I thought it was done with the kitchen when I fixed and painted the walls before moving in December, and I thought it was done. And no, because there's carpet here, and since we're paying someone to come over and do one room, they might as well do the other room because the price is not that much different. So yeah. Ta-da! Finally got rid of the disgusting carpet and vinyl.
After this, I painted the ceilings and then the walls. And then my husband and my father-in-law put in these beautiful wooden floors, they're oak wooden floors, and I just love them so much. I think it really fits with the house being in the middle of, like, close to the forest. And as you may notice, that last clip was from a couple of months ago. We've had other things going on, but we did have a company come and put in a heating system, and another company came in just last week to put in some ventilation and some air ducts, so that's all taken care of. So it wasn't until now I actually had the time to sit down and look through the footage from working on this room. And it was so much fun just seeing the whole process of it all coming together. When you're like in it, you don't see the progress that you do every day, but seeing the progress in these clips, it's just mind-blowing how much we actually have done with this house in the first year that we lived here. I'm very proud of the both of us for doing this. It feels so great. Most things we've done ourselves to keep costs down because there's so much to get done around this house. But also it's a sense of pride knowing that you did it yourself and learning and knowing how it all goes together, really. So yeah, it's been a lot of work and tiresome and stressful at times and expensive, but also very, very fun. Anyway, regarding this room, now all the basic stuff is done. The next part to do here in this space is to plan out, well, how we want to use this space, what furniture I want, what desks, what storage space I want, and that I can afford. That will be so much fun to plan out, but before then I will take a little bit of a break and just enjoy having my winter holiday and being in the space together with my husband and our dog and being around this lovely nature that's around the house. So yeah, anyway, I hope that you enjoyed looking at this progress as much as I did working on this video, and I hope that you have a good winter and that you get some good rest because you deserve it. In the next part I will show you what this room and setup ends up being, but that will be in a while because I have a lot of other fun things going on. So yeah, until then I hope that you have a great day. Hey hey!